Let's now refresh your personal brand and make sure it is consistent amongst all your social media and your website. So let's do this together. So refreshing your personal brand. Well, first of all, personal branding is not just, aesthetics. It is actually the foundation of attracting qualified leads. With the wrong branding or just no branding, you might attract a lot of people, a lot of leads, but they might not be qualified. Actually, most of them will not even be qualified. And that's going to be a problem for you because you want to attract obviously qualified leads that you will convert into clients. So your brand is what people think and feel about you before they even meet with you. So your brand already has to be up there stating something very specific. So RCICs compete in a crowded market. Yes, but when you niche down and when you have a very coherent professional online brand, online presence, you are trusted faster, and then you don't have to rely that much on referrals. And then your branding is not about being flashy out there. It might be, it might be your branding, but it doesn't have to. It's about alignment. Your visual, your messaging, your presence, everything has to match what you are offering. So if your online presence does not instantly communicate who you help, how you help them, and why they should trust you, you're losing leads before they even click contact. It's game over. Like you just lost. Make it so clear that your leads will go ahead with you. So let's define your core brand. So before changing your photo, your bio, just take the time to reflect. You're going to save a lot of time because you don't want to be updating your bio every week until you figure out something that works. That's why we also clarify your niche. That's the first thing we did. And who exactly you're helping is, you want to have that very much written down. It should be crystal clear of who you're helping. We also clarified your offer. That's something we worked on together. Like, what is your core service? You might do different visa types, but you should have one signature offer, one core service that is your brand. That it represents like who you are, and it's going to attract a very specific type of leads. And then clarify your brand personality. So are you the warm, approachable mentor, or are you more sharp? Are you someone that is very dark and out there? Are you a problem solver that is very calm? Don't invent yourself a personality. Don't be someone you're not, Make sure you're yourself. And that might sound super kitsch and super, overstated, but just be yourself. Like, if you're a bit older, more calm, then go ahead with that very much brand personality. At least people will know you for who you are. You might not be the biggest fan of, being in front of a camera and be on social media. I get it. But, when I first started being on social media, it took me like 10 times to record like just one simple 30-second video. I was just redoing it, trying to get it perfect and so on. And at first, it will never be perfect. And that's why we do editing in videos. You can use CapCut, and that's a great app for video editing. And honestly, if you're not into editing and you're not too much on social media, just get a freelancer. It's, they don't have to be full-time employees, and it's pretty affordable to have a freelancer doing your video editing for social media. So you spend an hour or two per month. Just, you know what you're talking about. Immigration programs, you have experience, just better than nothing, definitely. If you want to invest later on in more like professional equipment and an actual marketing team, that's when we scale, not now. When we grow the business, you want to get the maximum of leads and clients out of the minimum time and budget from marketing efforts. That's the core goal right now that we are doing. So, you have stories to tell about previous clients and so on. So put your phone on a tripod, just click record and record yourself telling those stories. Don't think twice, just go for it. Just keep in mind, you have one shot to record it. Like, just don't even allow yourself to redo it. Just tell the story and be who you are. And then by practicing. Give yourself a chance. Like you might have never been, on TV or recording videos. Give yourself a chance. You'll get it. So your 10th video will definitely be better than the first one. But like, how many people will actually see your first video? Not that many, right? And then once you've done it for like a year, you'll like, wow, I've grew so much. I've grown so much. I've learned so much. I became so fluid. Yes, of course. That's called practice. When you learn to walk, you don't walk perfectly on day one. And if, trust me, I was the one, when we had like oral presentations in high school. I could not even talk in front of a crowd. I was definitely the worst in the class, and I had to overcome that fear. And now I have not that I have to be on social media, but I realize the power of social media and having a brand. That the first time you'll go somewhere and then someone will recognize you from social media, you'll be shocked. Like, that's something I personally don't get used to, and I'm always surprised, to know that 30, 40, 100,000 people have seen one of my video. That's the power of social media. So be yourself. That's going to give you the best return on investment. Better people hate you for who you are than like you for someone you're not. That's also something I've heard before, and I think it is very, very relevant. So, sit down on in the kitchen table. It doesn't have to be, or your office. Put the tripod, put the phone on, start recording, and just tell your stories, and then have an editor do some video montage with that, and with a catchy title and so on, and you'll be surprised by how much you get out of it. And don't sound salesy. Never. I am an RCIC. If you start your video with, I'm going to do an entire video on that about social media. If you start with, I'm an RCIC, I do this, I do that, and then your logo shows up, you lost. There's no hook. People will not watch your video. Start your video with, let me tell you a story of what happened last week with that client. Then we are interested. Like, we want to know what happened. And so be genuine. Just tell stories the same way you would tell stories when you're at a family gathering, telling about your immigration stories. And the same way you can talk about programs, updates, and so on. So I would definitely recommend, for the vast majority of RCIC, just be casual. Definitely be yourself and give yourself a chance at practicing. Just practice, and you don't have to wear something fancy. You don't have to wear a suit in your video unless this is part of your core brand. Make yourself relatable, helpful, and you'll see leads and clients coming from those videos. So now that I've talked way too much, let's move forward about your visual identity. So we've talked about that a bit earlier in this video. People judge your credibility within less than 1 second, literally half a second. That's how it takes for someone to be like, yes, I like this person, or nope, not interested, not trustworthy. There's something. They might not even be able to tell you what they don't like about you or your profile, but they're just like, no, not for me. So you want definitely a professional headshot. You want to look friendly but confident, and you want to avoid overly formal, not only photo, but you don't want to be overly formal, because the people will not think you are relatable or approachable. Might not be in your advantage. When you talk about brand colors, I've said already, go ahead with colors that are resembling Canada: red, black, white, gray. Choose 2 or 3 core colors that match your personality and your niche. If you're indeed a bit older or more formal, more calm, you want to choose a brand and a personality type that, suits you, that is you. If you target students that are aged between 18 and 22, you might want to have something more punchy and not static, something that is a bit more electric in terms of energy. And then use all of those colors, logo, photo, consistently on all of your banners, your templates, your posts. It might sound super repetitive, and that's exactly what you want. You want to be so repetitive, because that's with repetition that people will book you. So think of it when you go to McDonald's in China or the US or France. The Big Mac is the Big Mac. It's very standardized. It is consistent. Why? Because we know what to expect from McDonald's. You do the same with all of your banners, your templates, your posts. Don't try to reinvent the wheel every time you do a flyer or a post. Be consistent. People will get, I don't want to say get used, but get attached to the way you do things, and that constant reminder of banner, template, post, that's going to come in their head. Think about how many times in a day you see a Coca-Cola logo. Always the same logo, always the same white and red, but that works. That constant exposure is bringing clients more than you think. And then the font and style, pick one or two fonts. I don't want to see a website with 12 different fonts. It is confusing. It doesn't look professional. It doesn't look trustworthy. One or two fonts that are professional. You go with Arial or you go with New Time Romans, whatever. But make it professional. Come on. Come on. Like, no, don't use a font that would lower your perceived value. And then keep it clean, clear, readable. Don't go for heavy text. That's something I often see, especially now that we have AI, those AI generated text. AI is a beautiful tool and will definitely be able to help you craft text faster for your website, for your post. But, sorry, you definitely want to keep your post and website readable. Don't go for big chunks of text with that, dash in the middle of the text. We know that's AI generated. Don't use the word unlock. Don't use the word, those there are very specific words that AI keeps using. Just don't go for that. Go more visual. You'll be much more relatable than text heavy. People will not read, literally. And then not only will they not read, they'll get bored and they'll be like, oh my God, this is too much mental work for me. People are not lazy. I don't like to say that, but make it so easy for them. Once again, keep in mind, make yourself so clear and easy to understand that a 10-year-old will be able to understand you. So your post on social media and the text on your website should reflect that as well. Easy to understand, short sentences, small bites of information, one after the other, bullet points. Those are all things that will help you convert leads into clients. And then practical tip, something that I've used a lot, create a free Canva brand kit. So there's a free version of Canva and a paid version. I am personally on the paid version and it works like a charm. I think it's like $180 a year. And then you have unlimited access to editing, all photos. And so if you don't have a graphic designer and you don't mind spending, a few minutes or a couple of hours a month on Canva doing your own design, there's already also so many templates on Canva that you can basically do a lot on your own without that much effort, So if you're a one-man show, if you have your own firm and you don't want to have a freelancer or an employee doing your graphic design or your marketing, go ahead with a paid version of Canva. That's going to give you so many templates and photos and options that you'll be able to do a lot on your own. And it's going to look, I don't want to say fully professional. It might look professional, but at least semi-pro, and it will definitely give you an edge. And then a year or two from now, once you have grown your firm, you're ready to scale, then you might have a freelancer working part-time and doing your graphic design. But definitely Canva is so good. So good, affordable, and I personally used it a lot, since the beginning to create designs and visuals. So you want your messaging and bio to be optimized. That's something we have discussed already. Your bio is like an elevator pitch. Like it's what you do in one sentence. A lot of time it will be 100 characters or less. So you have to be so efficient in telling people what you do, who you help, and how you do it. So you have here an example for LinkedIn, helping French-speaking skilled workers get their Canadian PR. Book your free eligibility check. Period. Simple, clear, direct call to action. And you want your consistency checklist to be also right on point. So the same name. You cannot have a different name on different social media platform. Like the brand name has to be identical, the job title exactly as well. Same with your headline. Just make it copy paste. Literally. That's going to help you. And include important keywords so it helps you get clients when they search you. And then your tone and content alignment. Your tone must reflect your niche and values. So you all have different niches, and that's perfectly fine. If you target more Muslims from West Africa, they have certain values, they have certain holidays. Then talk to them in that way, They'll feel targeted, they'll feel chosen by you. So make sure that you have clearly niche down. That's something we've done. And then you state the values of the avatars that you are having. So if you target students, you might want to be like friendly, encouraging, approachable, definitely more informal. If you target, professional investing in Canada, you want to be structured, informative. You might actually wear a shirt and suit, a jacket every day, especially on your social media presence, just because it suits who you're targeting. So, and one thing you want to do to avoid doing is the one-size-fits-all messaging. Don't ever try to write a post on social media that would talk to everyone. Because when you do try to talk to everyone, you talk to no one. When someone does not feel targeted, they don't feel chosen, and they will not choose you in return. Don't try to please everyone. You will not. It's impossible. Be bold for who you are and state clearly who you're helping and how, and that's it. And people that don't fit at all your niche, it's not leaving money on the table. It's choosing clearly who you're working with so you save time, energy, and get more clients that you actually want to handle. So the type of content as per your niche will be with a consistent tone. And then you'll have 3 examples, like the educational post. Did you know that blah, 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 blah? That builds authority. Like you know what you're talking about and you're sharing what you know with your audience. You are an educator. Then you want to build the trust. This is where you'll post behind the scenes. I know a lot of you work from home, and then you spend a lot of hours, sitting at your desk behind a computer. So the behind the scene is not that sexy, So shoot yourself being on the phone, of you attending. It doesn't have to be an actual phone call. It can be a replay of a phone call. Show the behind the scene. You with some paperwork, you going to some government office. I don't know what your behind the scene is, but be creative. Oh, you can also, when you go to the airport, that's something I've seen RCIC do, and that's very relevant. When clients reach your city, you go and pick them up from the airport. You get their live testimonial, you welcome them to Canada, and it gives you amazing behind the scene footage. So behind the scene will build trust. So much trust, you won't even believe how quickly this will convert leads into actual paying clients. Show what you do instead of just telling them, I do immigration, I fill out forms. Show them with clear details. If it's a written post, photos and videos. And I would honestly go ahead with photos and videos. Make it so visual. What do you do all day? Like, we don't know. We don't know. An RCIC, it's kind of a, I don't want to say shady. That's not the word I was looking for. You are in, an environment that is so unknown for a lot of people. So show what you do behind the scene and also share success stories. Something like, let me tell you what happened last week. I had this client that went through this and that, and then I did that for that person, help him out in that way, and that was the outcome. And that builds credibility. It's also building relatability. People will be able to relate to your clients and what you do for them. So tell your amazing, beautiful success stories. And also tell not only success stories, but I would say also all the kind of stories that what people should avoid doing. You can say something like, I had someone coming to me. He got territory banned. Like, he got banned for Canada for 5 years. Do you know what happened? And then you start telling the story of that candidate that got scammed somewhere else. And then he came to you when it was actually too late. So you tell your audience, if you don't want territory ban, if you want to avoid this situation, don't do that. Go directly with me as an RCIC and avoid being scammed. So you can tell those bad stories and turn them into positive stories for you. And that works so well on social media. Then let's go ahead. Let's go quickly on 5 core elements of your brand consistency as an RCIC. So we talked about your visual identity. You should make someone recognize you in a 1 second. It should be like, oh, that's that's this person, and I know exactly who they are and what they do. So once you have a brand consistency, people will be able to spot you from a mile away. Very good. One thing I've heard, about myself is you always wear the same thing. I was like, yep, that's my uniform. Literally. Black pants, white shirt, red jacket, Canada pin on my jacket, my hair back, professional makeup. That's it. How many photos of me have you seen wearing this exact outfit? If you go through my social media, that's my uniform. And why do I wear something that is so recognizable? People can spot me. People recognize me for that. So I fully embrace my uniform that I've chosen that is fitting my niche. And I also strongly recommend you to have some sort of uniform when you attend events and when you do content for social media, when you record yourself. What you wear when the cameras are off, no one cares about. If you want to work in t-shirt in your office, no worries. But when you have photos and videos being taken when you're out there at events, make sure that how you dress fits your brand. Don't go to an event wearing a green dress if it's not suiting with your brand colors. Literally dress the colors of your brands. You'll be amazed with when you open my wardrobe how many clothes I have that are red, white, and black. What I'm wearing today, my lipstick, it's all matching my brand. Why? Because we are into services that are relating to Canada. So make your brand get out even from social media and invite itself into your professional life. So yeah, an example of visual identity could be like a black blazer, neutral background, confident smile, and once you update your photo on one platform, update it on all platforms immediately, basically. So colors and font, we have here that's a color code. That's always like 6-digit letters and numbers. So when you go ahead with your brand, you should have those defined. That's part of your color palette that defines your brand identity. I can tell you I use white, so F, 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 F. I use black, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And my red is BC 0, 0, 0, 0. So those are my colors for my brand, and we use those. And then the logo placement, always put your logo at the bottom right of your flyer and social media post. Why? Why the bottom right? Like, we understand we put it everywhere, yes, but why at the bottom right? Why also you see me right now on your screen, I am at the bottom right. Why? Because when you read, your eyes make a Z, a Z. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm French speaker. So your eyes go from top left to top right to bottom left, all the way to bottom right. So since the eyes from anyone go naturally from like this, you want the eyes of your leads to finish with your logo. You want them, the last thing they remember is your name, your logo. So if you put it on the corner, on the top corner of the left-hand side, they'll start with that. Boring. They'll just check out, Why would they be interested in seeing first your logo? It's not a hook for them. What you want in the corner, on the top left corner, is something to hook them. Something catchy. Something that, one sentence that tells everything. And you want them to keep looking at your visual, following that shape, and then you want to finish with your logo. So your logo should always be at the bottom right corner, especially when you do certain flyers and so on. So your tone and language, your client need to hear your brand personality in every post. Just be consistent. Like, that might sound repetitive, but be repetitive. That's going to be definitely relevant for you. So if you're warm and supportive, you might say, we'll walk you step by step through your Canadian immigration journeys. That sounds very helpful. And if you write an Instagram post, you want to go ahead with either a warm or efficient tone, and you have examples here. Warm tone could be, your Canadian dream is possible. Let's make it happen together. Or if you want to be more efficient, depending on your niche, you can go ahead with, skip the guesswork, apply with confidence, and win time. Avoid being scam. Like, if you say avoid being scam, you might think like, oh, but if I talk about like something negative, I'm going to turn people away. No, that's the exact opposite. So you also want to tell them clearly what they will avoid when they work with you. They will avoid scam. They will avoid wasting time. They will avoid, those high refusal rate. You don't want to promise a visa, but you want to make them understand that they have higher chances of a positive outcome when they have a strong file and so on. So the messaging should be clear, repeatable, and the core message that's going to be visible everywhere. We have worked on this already. I help audience achieve result through method. Simple, straightforward, and then you keep repeating this over and over and over again. And then we go with the client experience. Your brand is not just what people see, it's how they feel when they deal with you. There's a common saying that says, people will forget what you say and what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's why we talk a lot more those days about the client experience. That's why a lot of businesses go into immersive experience, because to see something online is one thing, but when you make someone feel special, when you really touch someone, they will never forget you. And that's how you convert leads into clients. And if your brand is professional and efficient, you want to say something like, we reply to messages within 12 hours. If your brand is supportive and approachable, you might want to use the client's first name instead of the last name. So just make sure you're consistent, yes, and focus on the client experience. Focus on the client's experience. That is going to be something that people will be touched with. And a lot of you are very close with their candidate, very passionate, and they will feel that when they experience being with you. And then you want your content style. You want to build a style that is familiar, that people will adopt, and people who are in the process of thinking of using your services will get familiar with who you are and what you do. So once again, use Canva to create 3-4 templates for your post. And then you can reuse those templates with different tips, testimonials, announcement. So you should have like one template for tips, one template for testimonials, one template for announcement, and then one template for success stories. And then you just update the actual content of that template every time you want to post. And then, of course, use the same colors, logo, layout, everything, so it is all consistent. And then your photo, if you use a filter, always use the same filter so people are able to make sense of your photo and recognize you. And then in your document, choose the same header, font size, and so just make it very, very standardized. So now, in terms of action, there are nothing to fill with this module. There's no worksheet. What we are going to do is look at your actual social media profiles. So make sure you are ready. We're going to have a look at those together. So yes, go ahead, write down your bio and update your bio and photo on all your social media, including also your website. And I will see you very soon.